What do you have? What does your life mean? All of what you call your life is just the gift of time. I had to go to wake, hip, and funeral of a friend of mine. She was 58, just before her, she would have been 59 on the 3rd of August. She was my doctor and a fine Christian. And when the doctor herself gets ill, but she had a degenerative disease that from 2011 till now just kept pounding at her. And it was at the height of her success in her business. A period when she had become the primary doctor to all the major embassies. If you were getting an American resident immigrant visa, that's the place you would go for all your medical or whatever. Canadian, all the embassies. Because she's a fine professional, extremely thorough and diligent. And from 2011 to April when she died, if you go there feeling sad for her, you will leave encouraged by her. Because she kept her faith. She kept her spirit up. This thing took two things she treasured: being able to write, and she's a chatty person, being able to speak. After a while, she really couldn't speak. But still she would smile. She would encourage other people. She was a soldier of Christ who, in the face of trouble and trials, soldiered on without giving up. And at her wake keep, it was an amazing evening for 3.5 hours. That a whole hall that they use for weddings in Lagos was totally full to the brim of chairs arranged like this. The hall is multiple of this hall. And everyone was there for her. And testimonies were endless. And the next day, that was her funeral service. The whole of Lagos arose for this fine young woman who, though a Christian, had had many battles over the last 7 years without losing faith, and kept her faith till the end. And at the service, I remember the pastor saying one of the things that they continued her church, they continued to have fellowship at her house until just close to when she died, when her husband felt it had become really, really difficult for her, and asked them to move it. And they said that was the first time they saw the fire go out of her eyes, because she was sad that she was no longer going to be able to have that fellowship. And her biggest wish would be that on the day that she goes, many will come to the Lord. And truly, at her funeral service, many people gave their lives to Christ. Because her testimony was resounding. And you know, Lagosians are not very easy to convince, especially the social class that I'm talking about. They have everything. They don't need many things. So you have to speak a lot of grammar to show them why they need God. What do you have? What does your life mean? All of what you call your life is just the gift of time. The day you are born, which is timed, all your birth certificates have a time. You were born at 12:01 at Adeoyo Hospital on so and so date. The moment that you die will be timed. Died 3:10 at somewhere, which means opening and closing everything is perfectly timed. Now, the question is this. You don't have control over your birth, nor do you have control over your death. When you have a finite position in something, as a business person, you know your absolute position. As in, this is all I have. I have to do this business. I only have 2 million exactly. That's all I have available. But this is what I want to do. What do you do then? You will write a plan to do what you want to do within what? Within the budget of the total sum that you have. So when you put here, okay, we need to do this. Maybe I should employ one secretary and all that. No, I better employ a cleaner that can act as a secretary and also a receptionist when nobody is, because I don't have more than this amount for this. You will plan it because that's all you have. But if our life is defined as well, this is the day of birth. This is the day that we close the curtain. I'd like you to take a minute. Take your pen and your paper, or take your phone. I am serious, so don't look at me without doing what I've said. And I want you to close your eyes and see the morning after your last day. And I want you to write down, if people are gathered at your wake heap or at your funeral, what would you like them to be able to say about you? What would you like to be recorded that you have accomplished? What would you count as your legacy? Or what would you like to be counted as your legacy? For each man and woman, child and adult, he has assigned a time based on the portion of himself and the portion of his overall goal that he has hidden and laid upon that individual, which is your call and your mandate. And for each one, to man, you might say, someone has died before his time. He did not finish. How do you know? Do you know what the assignment is? Do you know where he was supposed to finish? Or when? Because at the end of the day, you and I will account for that time of birth, time of death, predetermined by Jehovah, back to him. Now, what do I have control of? Because I definitely do not have control over the day of my birth and the day I will die. But I have control in submission to God over how I apply the time that I'm assigned. And if I know what the end goal is, which is what? As a child of God, that I will fulfill the purpose and the mandate of God in line with the word of God within my lifetime. Because the question you can quickly say is, I don't know the purpose. I'm still trying to understand the purpose of God. You can at least live day by day according to the word of God, because then you're working in the purpose of God. You can live daily in love. And oh, no man around you, nothing but love. You can live as an example of the grace and the mercy of God. You can show kindness to the poor. You can bring hope to the hopeless. You can speak words of encouragement to the weary. You can feed the hungry. You can clothe those that are naked beside you. You can reach out to be a blessing in every way that you can. You can pursue the place of your daily work with excellence, showing that God that lives in you is an excellent God. You can manifest diligence and dedication, characters of Christ. You can be a lifter and not a destroyer. You can be a builder and not a wrecker. You can daily seek to do the things that at the end of the day, when your book is closed and humans are gathered, they can have a reason to testify of the characters of Christ that you displayed on a day-to-day basis. You can consider the daily choices that you make in line with how the Word of God will judge it, so that at the end, when your book is closed, your judgment will not be outside of this word. And the way you have lived will draw men to Christ rather than repel them. Because of all the assignments that you have, the ultimate assignment of our lives is to be what? Witnesses. Is to be witnesses of the gospel to every man and woman that will see us. That at the end of the day, the way I conduct myself will minister life and not death to people.